همتكم ده الحلم خلاص فاضل عليه تكة.
Welcome back, and let's start with our first segment of today. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi inaugurated on Wednesday a major complex for producing gasoline at the Asyut Petroleum Refining Company in Upper Egypt. Definitely one of the most important projects taking place, and also more projects when it comes to the infrastructure in general in Upper Egypt. Well, it's a pleasure to have with us today in our studio Mr. Ayoub Mahmoud Ayoub, Plenipotentiary Commercial Minister and Community Development Expert. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you and to the viewers.
So first of all, I'd like to shed the light on the importance of this important project.
This is one of the most important economic development projects implemented in Upper Egypt. Now, Upper Egypt means South Egypt, because development cannot go ahead without fuel. So there is difference between transporting fuel from Cairo or Suez to Asyut and producing it in Asyut itself. So we are cutting costs and make it easily accessible for all the citizens and the factories to have their needs of fuel at reasonable cost, because we are cutting the cost of transportation. This is one thing. Other thing is that many development projects are taking place in Upper Egypt. We have seen that about 1.1 trillion Egyptian pounds were paid during the last 7 years for development of Upper Egypt, which was marginalized for decades before. Now they are on the road. There is a roadmap for development of Upper Egypt, and the first thing we are looking for is the fuel, or what is needed for the economic development, and that's why the president himself went to Asyut to inaugurate this important project.
As we were talking right now, we are talking about how we have many projects parallel to each other in different sectors. So if we're talking about this complex, also talking about the health projects, and this is something of really great importance to Egypt. Let's shed the light on how important it is, and definitely it will have an impact on the citizens again.
Development has two backbones, not one backbone. That is development, that is health and education. When we see that President goes to Upper Egypt to inaugurate 4 hospitals, 4 big hospitals in Upper Egypt, for kidney, for public health, for maternity, and for injuries, and inaugurating all these at the same time, this means that the health sector is well taken care of, and also the Minister of Finance is financing these important projects because it touches the lives of millions of people in the Upper Egypt. This is a very important, because a healthy citizen is a productive one. If he is unhealthy, he will not be able to produce, he will not be able to go to the school, and all this. Especially when we look to the new generation, they are looking for better education and better health, and that is what the government is offering them during these developed projects which the president has inaugurated in Upper Egypt.
So now we can see a new Upper Egypt, with different sectors, with different industries, with different kinds of, we mentioned health sector, we are talking about education as well. So definitely this is new Upper Egypt.
That is a very important thing. When we are putting education and health in as a primary projects, we are supplementing it with industrial projects which are being implemented there, whether in agriculture, in industry, in fuel, in transportation, and all the other areas which we are seeing and are implemented and are important for the citizen. This is reflected on the daily life of the citizen, the standard of living and level of living, and also the prospects for the near future. We are diverting the citizen from recipient to giver. That is from waiting the government to do the job to doing himself the job. Himself should do the job and cooperate with each other and build upon what has been offered to them by the government in these several and many projects. I can see hundreds of projects during the last 7 years. When I say 1.1 trillion Egyptian pounds, that is a big amount of money was diverted. That's for the people to know where does the money go. It goes to these projects which are implemented and which are integrated, and the ordinary citizen in Upper Egypt is very important for us. Why? Before these 7 years, or let's say until 2010, we have seen that the Upper Egypt was the source of violence, source of terrorism, and all the things. Why? Because they were deprived of the basic needs of a human being. Now, the government is taking care of establishing projects which will directly reflect on the daily life of every citizen in the form of companies, factories, industrial projects.
Water sewage for drinking clean water.
Clean water is a very important another
One
thing
of the
to
most
add.
basic needs.
It is one of the basic needs which the people are seeing now. When they are seeing several basic needs projects like water desalination and water purification implemented in their houses, in the vicinity, and the pipelines of water is coming to their houses, they are confident, and this stabilizes the people where they live instead of immigrating to Cairo and Alexandria. That is a very important dimension of this development project. So the people are taking care of their own life in their own vicinity and not immigrating to other parts of Egypt, and at the same time it creates new interest in development projects for small scale industries and for the what we call microcredit, which are given by the NGOs to the families, poor families. Them stabilize them and creates a source of decent income for them, and this reflects on their level standard of living and help them to have better employment. I will not say full employment. There is no full employment in any country of the world, by the way, but minimizing the unemployment in the Upper Egypt, which is very important.
That's why we always say that Decent Life Initiative has been one of the most important initiatives in our history.
We can say this most positively, and we are sure that because what we have seen on the ground, many projects have been integrated and many people are now employed in these projects, and even the poorest of the poor are finding now a source of income to which they depend on, and it helps them to be more productive and sustain their own lives instead of lending a hand and asking the help from the government. They are helping themselves now thanks to Decent Life Initiative, which was created by the President 7 years ago.
I like one of the most important facts that when we say if you are looking for production and development, definitely you have to provide better environment for citizens so that they can, or just to enable them to work and to motivate them, because when you feel you are safe, you're secured along with your children, definitely this is completely different.
When we say environment, it means, which you might kindly mention now, it means many things. Many things for every citizen. Environment is even the quality of air in which he lives, even the collecting the rubbish from the houses and using it properly and recycling it, water desalination and water purification projects which you have seen in these parts, and also creating a more green environment for the people. It helps them to stabilize and have free oxygen through these trees and the green environment which they have. That is why we say the people should build their houses not on the fertile land or agricultural land, but rather on desert in the vicinity of their towns, instead of trying to encroach on the agricultural land, which the source of income and source of vegetable and source of fruits and source of cereals which they need. So we are encouraging, the government is encouraging people to build the houses in the vicinity, that is in the desert, maybe 5 or 6 or 10 kilometers from the town, so they live in a better way and in a better environment and in clean air.
So we can say that, yes, Egypt is moving rapidly on the track towards the vision of 2030.
You said rapidly. This is the
And
most...
more than rapidly, let
Yes.
me put it like this.
This is a very important word because we don't have time to waste. We need to exploit and invest in every hour and every minute of our life to move in the right direction. And thanks to the good finance which has been given to this project by the government and under directions of the president, many projects are now coming to be seen on the ground, and the people are making benefit of it, and they are the direct beneficiaries of this project that helps them to raise the standard of living, be hopeful of the future, and be productive in their community. And this will be a model project for the other countries, if I not only other towns in Egypt, in Upper Egypt or in South Egypt, in Lower Egypt. The people are now taking control of their own lives, and they are benefiting of this initiative which was inaugurated by the president, and it reflects on daily life and on the standard of living, and their how to look to the future with optimism, not with pessimism. That is very important for them and for the government as well.
I think also what is really very, very important for our kids, our new generation, to look and to be optimistic as well, because definitely sometimes what their families feel will be reflected to the kids. So I believe that now to have fresh kids, optimistic, they want to do something, they want to learn, they can feel something different, definitely this will add also to
You are giving them in their hands what we call the hope. The hope that today is good and tomorrow is better. So it helps them to have a better, to be quite dutiful as far as their education is concerned, and be optimistic. And also we create enthusiasm between the new generation that there are developed projects and this for you, and you have make full and proper use of what the government is offering them, especially in education. And we have seen many NGOs also at the same time helping the government in literacy lessons for the poor families and for those who has been deprived of proper education. Even for those who are over 15 years old, they are now getting literacy lessons by concentrated language encounter, a method which was initiated by the Rotary at this time in many places in South Egypt, from Aswan to Giza. We are seeing many literacy projects which are being implemented, and thousands of citizens are diverted from illiterate to literate, which will directly reflect on their own lives. And also when their neighbors look to them, oh, can read and write today, why not I? It is as simple as that. So it creates, if I say, enthusiasm, and also they are not envying, but rather trying to cope with the others who are taking proper education. And it is very important for any economic development that we need proper education and good health for citizens. And this is what the Haya Karima Decent Life initiative has made in this Upper Egypt during the last 7 years with 1.1 trillion Egyptian pounds. I cannot forget this figure. It is a very big figure as far as investment in the human beings is concerned.
You know, talking about Upper Egypt, we all know that Upper Egypt is a land of treasures. Many different treasures, whether we're talking about historical sites, touristic sites, archaeology, mineral resources, a lot of things. So if I ask you about how do you see Upper Egypt now and how do you see it in the future?
Upper Egypt is changing slowly to be attractive to investors.
In all sectors?
Yes, in all sectors, not only in tourism, but in housing, in power, in infrastructure, in agri-industries, which is very important. Upper Egypt is a very rich and fertile land. There is water now, and the water resources now are available for this, and also for agriculture. And for agriculture expansion, we are seeing land reclamation projects in Upper Egypt, which helps the people to produce their own food which they need instead of buying it or importing it. When we are creating these production sites, we are minimizing the imports of cereals or wheat or maize, for example. So we are helping our foreign trade by minimizing or limiting or decreasing the gap in the trade balance between Egypt and the other world. There is a gap, and we try, even the production project now, these production projects are helping in minimizing the trade gap or the exports when they are less than imports. This means that there is a trade gap. Now with local production increasing, it fills a gap in the lives of people, and also for the foreign trade sector. We feel more comfortable when the deficit is minimized by the time. And during the last 3 years, the trade gap is going down and down. We are very pleased for that. And the exports for this year has reached $34 billion, and we are very pleased to see that this is one of the results of economic development which you are seeing in Upper Egypt.
Right, Mr. Ayoub, Mahmoud Ayoub, plenipotentiary commercial minister and community development expert, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, and to the viewers.
Right, still we have more to bring you on our breakfast show, but first moving on to a quick break, then we'll be back.